Morning. It is Saturday, October 17th. I actually managed to get up early today. It's not even 7 yet. I've been up for a while. So it feels good. Feels good. Got plenty of things I want to get started on my weekends, so feeling moved and compelled to get up and work, which it will take. It's good to feel enlivened by what you do. And that I am. What's on my mind today? I've been thinking a lot about, since I'm building my business, and since my business is so tied to the work that I do with myself, thinking about just the approaches to healing that are interesting to me. Areas that I'm familiar with already, and more so areas that are new to me and that I'm very interested in learning more about and diving deep. I am a huge fan of school, I should say, just learning in general. You know, I really enjoyed college and grad school. Schooling in general as a kid, I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole I could go into about how I feel for the most part we're educating our children about a lot of the wrong things. You know, a lot of us are growing up not knowing how to communicate our needs or understand and be curious about and regulate our emotional health, our emotional expression, I should say. Not knowing how to take care of our human. But we know what parallelograms are. So, I'm not saying that I can do it better, but I just know that it could be better. So, again, like I said, whole other rabbit hole. I like rabbit holes. But back to what I was saying. I was thinking about what I'm interested in and about healing. And I was thinking about just our layers of being. You know, what do I mean by that? Most of us at least can conceptualize of ourselves as a couple layers, at least. You know, our physical body and our mind. A lot of people will talk about a battle between their head and their heart. So those are a couple different layers. The third layer that comes in for many folks, and where many folks are also triggered about, is this spirit idea. Healing mind, body, and spirit. And so that's another expression. And with each expression and layer of ourselves comes a new way of interacting with ourselves and knowing ourselves and healing. Although I'd probably argue on the level of spirit, there's no healing that needs to be done there. That's always whole. Anyway, I've, for a while now, I'd say at least since, how far back does it go? When I was 14, a little bit of background here, I was actually raised Mormon, actually. Very interesting fact here, actually. I was raised Mormon, which is a very loving, at least family-oriented, Christian, rule-based, guilt-based in my experience, and judgment-based in my experience, religion until I was about 17 when I officially left. But back in the day, when I was still practicing, I was about 14 and I went to my first yoga classes at the YMCA in Blue Ash, Cincinnati. And it just struck me so much, the tradition of it and how my body felt. And, you know, it was all this newness to me. And one of the interesting things that stuck out to me was this idea of chakras, or these energy centers that are swirling around in our body. You know, I was no stranger to faith, so, you know, believing in something that I couldn't see was not necessarily tricky for me to embrace. So I was so interested in it. I learned all about it, read all about it. I think I got like a chakra necklace off of eBay. It was my first online purchase ever. I don't think I still have that. Damn. At any rate, I taught my youth group at church about the chakras, which was wild. You should have seen some of their faces when I got down to the sacral chakra and sexuality. Red flag alert on that one. At any rate, that was like the energetic level being some other level of being that I hadn't ever thought about before. Super interesting to me. Then I'd say my next dose of this that stands out, this layeredness of being, was when I went to India. I went to India at the beginning of 2016, so almost 5 years now. And I learned all about Ayurveda, this thousands and thousands of year-old practice, this study of the human person, this more holistic view, you know, than we have historically had it in the Western world, where it's like, here's the body, here's the spirit, here's emotions, they're all siloed. We'll target and manage them all. Here's a pill, here's a therapist. Have a good day. We're moving away from that. And that is thrilling to me because that is the space I want to live in. And the Indian folks in their practice of Ayurveda really embody that. They talk about lots of layers of being, and what they call those layers are koshas. So I don't remember all of them verbatim off the top of my head, but it's kind of, there's the diagrams I've seen, you look like a jawbreaker, you know, and there's your physical body, there's your energetic body, there's a layer of your mind, all the way down to your core center, which I believe is Ananda or bliss. That's that spirit, at least how I translate that I talked about, that's untouchable. And, you know, I don't know much about Chinese medicine, but I know acupuncture, for instance, taps into this energetic part of us. So interesting, all these different ways to heal. And I think what I've learned the most about, at least officially from a certification standpoint, is about the body level, you know, healing the gut and moving the muscles and a little bit of soft tissue work to break up trauma in that way, trauma or hurt or held in experiences. And I know that healing one affects all the other ones to some extent because it's all connected. You know, by releasing some, again, physical trauma, you can often open up old memories that you didn't have access to. You can release patterns that you've been holding in your fascia, your soft tissue. So I'm really curious about the different ways. I would love to learn more about different sorts of somatic therapies. What do I mean by that? So somatic psychotherapy specifically. So and I could be completely misnaming this because I'm just learning about all these embodied ways of studying psychology. So, you know, there's talk therapy, which again has its place, but has its limitations as well. You know, you get into looking at and inspecting your, you know, unconscious patterns or subconscious, bringing them into awareness. And that, you know, can change your thoughts about yourselves, but might not necessarily change your belief about those thoughts. Because you also need some healing within your nervous system itself. You know, maybe there's meditation that needs to be incorporated into your practice. Maybe there's, again, acupuncture. Maybe there's specific kind of breath work or tapping. And I'm not even mentioning there's Reiki and sound healing and, you know, and yoga, of course, as a practice. There's, you know, going through the mind and creating an inquiry, like Byron Katie has a program she calls The Work, where you look at your different thoughts and you get curious about them in a very specific way that helps often untangle the story that has you riling, is that a word? Writhing? That sounds really painful. In whatever sort of suffering that you're in. And I'm curious about all these modalities, not as something to subscribe prescriptively to myself or to the people that I work with. Like, here's a list of all the things you need to manage, all the layers, check all the boxes, more to do. But more as a set of tools that I'm familiar with and have practiced to dip into, because it's so individualized. Everything is so individualized. There's no 10 steps to healing out there that works for everyone. It's not like that. We're such complex, beautiful, whole human beings, and we have our different disruptions in our systems and our different histories and our different patterns that can be addressed in a way that's just perfect for you. And I'm so excited that all of these things have been around, a lot of them, I should say, have been around for thousands of years. And more of these teachings are starting to become available as trainings and within schools. I think it's Columbia in New York, legit university, has a mind, body, spirit, like psychology therapy program, which is amazing. Like, that sounds like a dream program. I'd love to do something like that. Just again, to learn how to integrate, not silo off these different parts of ourselves. How to address the whole human and all of our layers, our identity, our conditioning, our energetics, our physical tissues, and our self-regulatory centers, our nervous system. There's so many, probably countless. And to treat that as one loving, unified whole to bring ease and flow and wholeness, I think that is the exciting next frontier in my life. I think the world needs it. I need it. That's it.